The Princess. Part 7. Alfred. Lord Tennyson. So was their sanctuary violated, so their fair college turned to hospital. At first with all confusion, by and by sweet order lived again with other laws, a kindlier influence reigned. And everywhere low voices with the ministering hand hung round the sick. The maidens came, they talked, they sang, they read, till she not fair began to gather light, and she that was, became her former beauty treble. And to and fro with books, with flowers, with angel offices, like creatures native unto gracious act, and in their own clear element, they moved. But sadness on the soul of Ida fell, and hatred of her weakness, blent with shame. Old studies failed. Seldom she spoke, but oft clomb to the roofs, and gazed alone for hours on that disastrous leaguer, swarms of men darkening her female field. Void was her use, and she as one that climbs a peak to gaze o'er land and main, and sees a great black cloud drag inward from the deeps, a wall of night, blot out the slope of sea from verge to shore, and suck the blinding splendor from the sand, and quenching lake by lake and tarn by tarn expunge the world. So fared she gazing there, so blackened all her world in secret, blank and waste it seemed and vain, till down she came, and found fair peace once more among the sick. And twilight dawned, and morn by morn the lark shot up and shrilled in flickering gyres, but I lay silent in the muffled cage of life, and twilight gloomed, and broader grown the bowers drew the great night into themselves, and heaven, star after star, arose and fell. But I, deeper than those weird doubts could reach me, lay quite sundered from the moving universe, nor knew what I was on me, nor the hand that nursed me, more than infants in their sleep. But Psyche tended Florian, with her oft, Melissa came. For Blanche had gone, but left her child among us, willing she should keep court favor. Here and there the small bright head, a light of healing, glanced about the couch, or through the parted silks the tender face peeped, shining in upon the wounded man with blush and smile, a medicine in themselves to wall the length from languorous hours, and draw the sting from pain. Nor seemed it strange that soon he rose up whole, and those fair charities joined at her side. Nor stranger seemed that he is so gentle, so employed, should close in love, then when two dewdrops on the petals shake to the same sweet air, and tremble deeper down, and slip at once all fragrant into one. Less prosperously the second suit obtained at first with Psyche. Not though Blanche had sworn that after that dark night among the fields she needs must wed him for her own good name. Not though he built upon the babe restored. Not though she liked him, yielded she, but feared to incense the head once more. Till on a day when Cyril pleaded, Ida came behind seen but of Psyche, on her foot she hung a moment, and she heard, at which her face a little flushed, and she passed on. But each assumed from thence a half consent involved in stillness, plighted troth, and were at peace. Nor only these, love in the sacred halls held carnival at will, and flying struck with showers of random sweet on maid and man. Nor did her father cease to press my claim, nor did mine own, now reconciled. Nor yet did those twin brothers, risen again and whole. Nor Arac, satiate with his victory. But I lay still, and with me off she sat. Then came a change. For sometimes I would catch her hand in wild delirium, gripe it hard, and fling it like a viper off, and shriek you are not Ida. Clasp it once again, and call her Ida, though I knew her not, and call her sweet, as if in irony, and call her hard and cold which seemed a truth, and still she feared that I should lose my mind, and often she believed that I should die, till out of long frustration of her care, and pensive tendance in the all-weary noons, and watches in the dead, the dark, when clocks throbbed thunder through the palace floors, or called on flying time from all their silver tongues dash, and out of memories of her kindlier days, and sidelong glances at my father's grief, and at the happy lover's heart and heart dash, and out of hauntings of my spoken love, and lonely listenings to my muttered dream, and often feeling of the helpless hands, and wordless broodings on the wasted cheek dash from all a closer interest flourished up, tenderness touch by touch, and last, to these, love, like an alpine herible hung with tears by some cold morning glacier. Frail at first and feeble, all unconscious of itself, but such as gathered color day by day. Last I woke sane, but well nigh close to death for weakness. It was evening, silent light slept on the painted walls, wherein were wrought two grand designs. For on one side arose the women up in wild revolt, and stormed at the opium law. Titanic shapes, they crammed the forum, and half crushed among the rest it wareth like Cato coward. On the other side Hortensia spoke against the tax. Behind, a train of dames, by axe and eagle sat, with all their foreheads drawn in Roman scowls, and half the wolf's milk curdled in their veins, the fierce triumvirs. And before them paused Hortensia pleading, angry was her face. I saw the forms, I knew not where I was, they did but look like hollow shows. Nor more sweet Ida, palm to palm she sat, the dew dwelt in her eyes, and softer all her shape and rounder seemed. I moved, I sighed, a touch came round my wrist, and tears upon my hand. Then all for languor and self-pity ran mine down my face, and with what life I had, and like a flower that cannot all unfold, so drenched it is with tempest, to the sun, yet, as it may, turns toward him, I on her fixed my faint eyes, and uttered whisperingly, if you be, what I think you, some sweet dream, I would but ask you to fulfill yourself, but if you be that Ida whom I knew, I ask you nothing, only, if a dream, sweet dream, be perfect, I shall die tonight. Stoop down and seem to kiss me ere I die. I could no more, but lay like one in trance, that hears his burial talked of by his friends, and cannot speak, nor move, nor make one sign, but lies and dreads his doom. She turned. She paused. She stooped. And out of languor leapt a cry. Leapt fiery passion from the brinks of death. And I believed that in the living world my spirit closed with Ida's at the lips. Till back I fell, and from mine arms she rose glowing all over noble shame. And all her falser self slipped from her like a robe, and left her woman, lovelier in her mood than in her mold that other, when she came from barren deeps to conquer all with love. And down the streaming crystal dropped. And she far fleeted by the purple island sides, naked, a double light in air and wave, to meet her graces, where they decked her out for worship without end. No end of mine, stateliest, for thee. But mute she glided forth, nor glanced behind her, and I sank and slept, filled through and through with love, a happy sleep. Deep in the night I woke, she, near me, held a volume of the poets of her land, there to herself, all in low tones, she read. No sleeps the crimson petal, now the white. Nor waves the cypress in the palace walk. Nor winks the gold fin in the porphyry font. The firefly wakens, wake thou with me. Now droops the milk-white peacock like a ghost, and like a ghost she glimmers on to me. Now lies the earth all downy to the stars, and all thy heart lies open unto me. Now lies the silent meteor on, and leaves a shining furrow, as thy thoughts in me. Now folds the lily all her sweetness up, and slips into the bosom of the lake, so fold thyself, my dearest, thou, and slip into my bosom and be lost in me. I heard her turn the page. She found a small sweet idol, and once more, as low, she read, Come down, O maid, from yonder mountain height, what pleasure lives in height? The shepherd sang, In height and cold, the splendor of the hills. But cease to move so near the heavens, and cease to glide a sunbeam by the blasted pine, to sit a star upon the sparkling spire. And come, for love is of the valley, come, for love is of the valley, come thou down and find him. By the happy threshold, he, or hand in hand with plenty in the maize, or red with spurted purple of the vats, or fox-like in the vine. Nor cares to walk with death in mourning on the silver horns, nor wilt thou snare him in the white ravine, nor find him dropped upon the firths of ice, that huddling slant and furrow cloven falls to roll the torrent out of dusky doors, but follow. Let the torrent dance thee down to find him in the valley. Let the wild lean-headed eagles yelp alone, and leave the monstrous ledges there to slope, and spill their thousand wreaths of dangling water smoke, that like a broken purpose waste in air, so waste not thou. But come, for all the vales await thee, azure pillars of the hearth arise to thee. The children call, and I thy shepherd pipe, and sweet is every sound, sweeter thy voice, but every sound is sweet. Myriads of rivulets hurrying through the lawn, the moan of doves in immemorial elms, and murmuring of innumerable bees. So she low-toned, while with shut eyes I lay a-listening, then looked. Pale was the perfect face, the bosom with long sighs labored, and meek seemed the full lips, and mild the luminous eyes, and the voice trembled in the hand. She said brokenly, that she knew it, she had failed in sweet humility, had failed in all, that all her labor was but as a block left in the quarry. But she still were loath to yield herself to one that wholly scorned to help their equal rights against the sons of men, and barbarous laws. She prayed me not to judge their cause from her that wronged it, sought far less for truth than power and knowledge, something wild within her breast, a greater than all knowledge, beat her down. And she had nursed me there from week to week, much had she learned in little time. In part it was ill counsel had misled the girl to vex true hearts, yet was she but a girl a fool, and made myself a queen of farce. When comes another such? Never, I think, till the sun drop, dead, from the signs. Her voice choked, and her forehead sank upon her hands, and her great heart through all the faultful past went sorrowing in a pause I dared not break. Till notice of a change in the dark world was lisped about the acacias, and a bird, that early woke to feed her little ones, sent from a dewy breast a cry for light. She moved, and at her feet the volume fell. Blame not thyself too much, I said, nor blame too much the sons of men and barbarous laws. These were the rough ways of the world till now. Henceforth thou hast a helper, me, that know the woman's cause is man's. They rise or sink together, dwarfed or godlike, bond or free, for she that out of Lethe scales with man the shining steps of nature, shares with man his nights, his days, moves with him to one goal, stays all the fair young planet in her hands. If she be small, slight-natured, miserable, how shall man grow? But work no more alone. Our place is much, as far as in us lies we too will serve them both in aiding her. Will clear away the parasitic forms that seem to keep her up but drag her down. Will leave her space to burgeon out of all within her. Let her make herself her own to give or keep, to live and learn and be all that not harms distinctive womanhood. For woman is not undeveloped man, but diverse. Could we make her as the man, sweet love or slain, his dearest bond is this, not like to like, but like indifference. Yet in the long years like her must they grow. The man be more of woman, she of man. He gain in sweetness and moral height, nor lose the wrestling thews that throw the world. She mental breadth, nor fail in childward care, nor lose the childlike in the larger mind. Till at the last she set herself to man, like perfect music unto noble words. And so these twain, upon the skirts of time, sit side by side, full summed in all their powers, dispensing harvest, sowing it to be, self-reverent each and reverencing each, distinct in individualities, but like each other even as those who love. Then comes the state Elyrian back to men, then reign the world's great bridals, chaste and calm, then springs the crowning race of humankind. May these things be. Sighing she spoke, I fear they will not. Dear, but let us type them now in our own lives, and this proud watchword rest of equal. Seeing either sex alone as half itself, and true marriage lies nor equal, nor unequal, each fulfills defect in each, and always thought in thought, purpose in purpose, will in will, they grow, the single pure and perfect animal, the two-celled heart beating, with one full stroke, life. And again sighing she spoke, a dream that once was mine. What woman taught you this? Alone, I said, from earlier than I know, immersed in rich foreshadowings of the world, I loved the woman. He, that doth not, lives a drowning life, besotted in sweet self, or pines in sad experience worse than death, or keeps his winged affections clipped with crime. Yet was there one through whom I loved her, one not learned, save in gracious household ways, not perfect, nay, but full of tender wants, no angel, but a dearer being, all dipped in angel instincts, breathing paradise, interpreter between the gods and men, who looked all native to her place, and yet on tiptoe seemed to touch upon a sphere too gross to tread, and all male minds perforce swayed to her from their orbits as they moved, and girdled her with music. Happy he with such a mother. Faith in womankind beats with his blood, and trust in all things high comes easy to him, and though he trip and fall he shall not blind his soul with clay. But I, said Ida, tremulously, so all unlike it seems you love to cheat yourself with words, this mother is your model. I have heard of your strange doubts, they well might be, I seem a mockery to my own self. Never, Prince. You cannot love me. Nay, but thee I said from year-long poring on thy pictured eyes, seen I loved, and loved thee seen, and saw thee woman through the crust of iron moods that masked thee from men's reverence up, and forced sweet love on pranks of saucy boyhood. Now, given back to life indeed, through thee, indeed I love. The new day comes, the light dearer for night, as dearer thou for faults lived over. Lift thine eyes. My doubts are dead, my haunting sense of hollow shows, the change, this truthful change in thee has killed it. Dear, look up, and let thy nature strike on mine, like yonder morning on the blind half-world. Approach and fear not. Breathe upon my brows. In that fine air I tremble, all the past melts mist-like into this bright hour, and this is morn to mower, and all the rich to come reels, as the golden autumn woodland reels athwart the smoke of burning weeds. Forgive me, I waste my heart in signs, let be. My bride, my wife, my life. Oh, we will walk this world, yoke it in all exercise of noble end, and so through those dark gates across the world that no man knows. Indeed I love thee, come, yield thyself up, my hopes and thine are one, accomplish thou my manhood in thyself. Lay thy sweet hands in mine and trust to me.